Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a necklace and a pair of earrings today, and I'm going to use some of the beads that I got in my most recent order from Beebeecraft. I'll put a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below to the video I did where I opened my order from Beebeecraft and went over everything that I got. I have a coupon code. It's Teresa10, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below, along with a link to the Beebeecraft homepage. The coupon will save you 10% off your order if you make an order with them. In here I've got the natural dolomite beads that I got in my order. They're 10.5 by 9.5 millimeters. I got 3 different colors. These are kind of a really pale yellow, I think is what these are. And this is just half of what I'm going to need to make my necklace. I've already made half of it. So that's why there's not very many beads in my little trays here. And here are the natural agate imitation Botswana beads that I got in my order. They're 8 millimeters. And here from my stash, I found this large crystal that I'm going to use as a focal. And I've got a head pin that I'm going to put that on. I've got some little 3 millimeter rounds. I'm not sure about the color on these or anything. I didn't have them labeled, but they were in my 3 millimeter drawer, so I think they're 3 millimeters. They're kind of like a topaz color, I think. That's what that would be. And here I've got some bead caps for my stash, and I've got a spacer bead. Like I said, I've only got half of what I need out here. And here I've got some findings. I've got some 5 millimeter jump rings, one 8 millimeter jump ring, a couple of pieces of chain, another piece of chain with larger links that I'm going to use as an extender, a ball head pin, and one of the little 3 millimeter beads I'm going to hang off the extender chain, a lobster clasp, and I've got this link that I found in my stash. I think that's everything that's in there. I've already got one of my earrings made, but it would be, for my earrings, it would be 2 of the dolomite beads, 2 of the 8 millimeter beads, 4 bead caps. It would be 4 eye pins and 2 head pins. And then it would be 2 fishhook ear wires. Oh, and I've got 2 of the little spacer beads like the one here. And I've got some pieces of 22 gauge German style wire. I'm going to be using my chain nose pliers, my tweezer pliers, my round nose pliers, both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers, the crimping pliers I use to tuck in a wire when I cut off the wire, tuck in the burrs when I cut off wire, my cutters that I use for head pins and eye pins and craft wire, my flat nose pliers, and I've already used my memory wire cutters to cut my chain. And I've got my little New Orleans shot glass to put my wires in when I cut them off. I think that's everything. I'll put links to everything I can find links for in the description box below. Of course, I'll have links for these Beebeecraft products, and then whatever I can find links for of the things that I'm using from my stash, I'll put down there too. So hold on, I'll get some of this out of the way and I'll be back. Okay, this is the half of my necklace that I've already got done, so I'm going to make another half just like it. So I've got my dolomite beads and my 8 millimeter beads and my bead caps and my 3 millimeter beads, one of my spacer beads, and my pieces of 22 gauge German style wire. So I'm going to take one of these pieces of wire, and they're about 3 inches each, I think. I'm going to go down about 1 inch. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. I'm going to bend the wire back until it hits the tool. I'm going to rotate the pliers so they're facing the table. Take the short piece of wire up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Like that. And that stands this little piece of wire straight up. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring the short piece of wire down. I'm going to wrap the short piece of wire around the long piece of wire about 3 times. Now I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. didn't get that cut off enough. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my little 3mm beads, put it on here, and put on a bead cap. Put on one of my dolomite beads, another bead cap, and another 3mm bead. I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to go to the very tip of the pliers because I don't want a very long neck. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Around those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. This part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Like that. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold onto my loop. Bring this wire down. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. I'll make sure to get that first wrapping under the bottom of the loop and not over the top of the bottom of the loop. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire, and I use these crimping pliers, the little half circles at each end, to tuck in the burrs when I cut off wire. And if you're using a little crystal at the end here like I am, you want to be really careful when you do this because it's real easy to break that little crystal. And I wait until I get the whole link made before I tuck in my burrs. I just find it easier to do if I have those beads to brace against when I'm tucking in my burrs. So now I'm going to take another piece of my German style wire and go down about an inch, bend over at a 90-degree angle, come around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. This part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Now this time I'm going to open my loop and thread on this little link that I already made here. I need to open it a little bit more. I'm going to close my loop back. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this part down. Wrap the short piece of wire around the long piece of wire about 3 times. I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. I'm going to take a bead cap, one of my 8mm beads, and a bead cap. I'm going to take my bent chain or my tweezer pliers and go to the very tip of the pliers. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the flowers till they're facing the table. Take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I have a strip just like this strip that I've made here. I'm just going to be alternating between my Dolomite beads with the 3mm on each side and my 8mm beads. And then at the top here I'm going to wrap this little spacer bead and attach it to the top. So when I get this strip made, I'll be back and we'll do the focal and put it all together. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got both of my sides of my necklace made now. So now I'm going to do my focal. So I've got a head pin here. And I'm going to put a bead cap on here. And my focal bead. And a bead cap. And I know that's probably silly because you can just barely see those little bead caps on top of that focal. But you all know me, I just love bead caps and spacers. So I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Around those pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the bead, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take this part under until it's the bottom of the tool, kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. I'm just going to wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire, and take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burr. Well, I almost threw it in the floor. I just barely saved it. I almost threw it in the floor. Okay, now I'm going to attach it to my little link that I've got here and connect both of my sides. So I've got a 5mm jump ring. And I'm going to open it up. And attach my focal and attach it to my ring and drop it. I don't think I had that jump ring open wide enough anyway. Need to open it a little wider. I'll put my link on here first. And drop it again. Somebody told me they call them jump rings because they jump out of your hands, and they sure do for me. Okay, now I'm going to put my little focal on here. Close my jump ring back. Sure it's closed back really well. Okay, now I'm going to I'm going to use my smaller pin chain nose pliers. It might be easier. Now I'm going to take another jump ring here. Open it up. Thread on my link. And one side of my necklace. Close it back. And I'm just going to do the same thing on this other side. So there's my focal. Now hold on, I'll get my chain and my other findings and I'll put those on, so I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to put the rest of my findings on here now. I've got my chain, they're about 3 inches each. And I measured these strips here after I got them made. They were about 8 inches. So I've got about 3 inches each of chain here. I'm going to take one of my 5mm jump rings. I'm using these because they're the thinner gauge jump rings. I usually use a 4mm jump ring to attach my chain, but my 4mm jump rings are 18 gauge, and I don't think they would go through this little chain that I'm using here. And these 5mm jump rings are 20 gauge, so they go through it easy. So I'm going to put my chain on there and put it on one side of my necklace. Close my jump ring back really well. Do that on the other side. Attach my other piece of chain. Now I've got another 5mm jump ring. I'm going to attach it to this end of my chain with my lobster clasp. Close my jump ring back. Now I'm going to use, I've got a 8mm jump ring here for my lobster to clasp onto, but I'm going to attach it with a 5mm jump ring because I don't think that 8mm jump ring will go through my chain because it's 18 gauge too. So I'm going to put this one on this side of my chain with my 8mm jump ring. Then I'm going to open my 8mm jump ring and attach it to my extender chain. This is about a 2-inch piece of extender chain. Close it back really well. So now I'm going to make my little dangle to go off my extender chain. So I've got a ball head pin and one of my little 3mm beads. I'm going to take my pliers and go to the tip of the pliers. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Run those pliers in the crook of the bend. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold onto my loop. Bring this wire down. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers. Start to wrap. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burr. And I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and open the last link of my extender chain. Thread on my little dangle. Close my link back. So there's my little dangle. There's my necklace. So hold on while I get my earring stuff and I'll make my earrings. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to make my little earring now, and I'm going to be doing simple loops, and I'm not really good at simple loops, but I tried doing wire wrap loops and it made the earring really long, so I'm going to try to do simple loops. So I've got a head pin here, and I'm going to put on one of my little 3mm beads. And a bead cap. And my dolomite bead. And a bead cap. And another 3mm bead. Okay, now I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to go a little bit above the pliers because I don't want to crack my bead. And I'm going to bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to cut off and leave about 1/4 of an inch of the pin there. I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to go here and I'm going to make sure there's no wire sticking out on this side, and I like to go down pretty far on the barrel to start my loop. I find it easier, and then I go up here to the tip and finish my loop. So that's going to be the very bottom of my earring. And now I've got an eye pin. I'm going to open my eye pin and thread on my little dangle that I just made. Close it back. And now I'm going to take a bead cap and my 8mm bead and a bead cap. Bead cap is, I didn't have my eye pin closed very well down there, and it's got down inside my eye pin. To open this eye pin back and close it back better. Figure out which side opens. There we go. Now I need to close it back better. I've got my bead cap on. I've got it in the wrong hole. These little filigree bead caps have a lot of holes. You got to make sure you get it in the right one. Now I'm going to put on my 8mm bead. And my bead cap. Now I'm going to take my pliers, go a little bit above the bead, bend the wire over to a 90-degree angle, cut off and leave about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Take my round nose pliers and go down on the barrel here like I did before and start my loop. And go up here to start it a little bit more, then go up here to the tip and finish it. And my loops are almost never facing the same way when I get this done. And my bottom loop's not facing the same way as my top loop, so I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers and just twist it around here until it's facing the same way. I'm going to fiddle with this a little and try to get it closer and tighter so that my bead cap doesn't float around freely. Okay, I think that'll be alright. Now I'm going to take another eye pin and open it up and thread on this one with my little 8mm bead and close it up. And now I'm going to put my spacer bead on here. Take my pliers, go a little bit above the bead, bend the wire over the 90-degree angle, cut off leaving about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Take my round nose pliers, go to the tip of the pliers here. Hold on just a second, I'll be back. Okay, I don't know if y'all heard that big crash. There was a big crash in the other room, and my husband came to tell me he knocked over the lamp. I don't know how in the world he did that. I'll have to go see what's going on, but he was coming in here to tell me that the big crash I heard was the lamp falling over. So I'm going to go to the end here. I already started rolling it back, but I'm going to keep rolling it back a little bit. Now I'm going to go to the tip and finish rolling my loop. And now I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers and straighten up my loops because they're never facing the same way. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my ear wire and open it up and thread on my ear wire, close it back. So there's my little earring. So hold on and I'll get all this laid out here and I'll be back. Okay, there's my necklace and pair of earrings made with some of the beads I got in my most recent Beebeecraft order. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description box below to the Beebeecraft homepage, and that coupon code will save you 10% off your order if you make an order with them. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.